Okay, I sound kind of loud. Hi, everybody. Thank you for attending this leadership forum you build honoring our Maura Award winner, Thana Simmons. I'm Ashley Harris. I'm the Vice President of Texas Women's Foundation, and I'm just so happy to be here and see all your faces live and in person to celebrate women's leadership. So before I introduce Dr. Simmons, I want to say hello to our online audience. We hope that you will engage, chat with each other, ask questions, and as we're going to reserve time at the end of this conversation so that you have time to ask questions. So don't be shy. And also, I just wanted you to know that all of these forums are being recorded today, so if you missed one you wanted to see, don't worry, they will be available online for a week after today. Just hang on to your login information. So now, I would like to introduce our Maura Award winner today, Dr. Thana Simmons. Thana is the founder and executive director of Viola's House, an emergency placement shelter for teen mothers who have an unplanned pregnancy. Raised in a middle-class household on the south side of Chicago, she faced an unplanned pregnancy when she was 17 and decided to keep her unborn child because she had support. Thana moved to Dallas in 2007 and opened Viola's House in 2008 after seeing that teen mothers often become homeless because they don't have resources. And through a partnership with Cornerstone Baptist Church, Viola's House opened one apartment with 2 beds in 2015. Today, Viola's House has helped more than 240 homeless teen mothers in South Dallas through housing, licensed counselors, mentors, and educators. In addition to helping these teen moms, Thana has also created jobs for other women, including her 3 daughters. She has a bachelor's degree in business administration. She is a certified life coach, and she holds a license of ordination in ministry. And I would also like to welcome our sponsor today and board director, Virginia Rose from Texas Health Resources. Can't wait to hear this conversation.
Thank you. I hope you can hear this okay. Just a quick correction that I wanted to make on Thana's part is she is not a doctor, but here's what I would say is after visiting with her recently, she is an honorary doctor, because I'll tell you what, I heard so many stories about what she does, and I work with doctors every day, and it's like you do surgery, you do all kinds of things with people that would rank right up there with having a doctorate. So it is for sure. I did want to say that I am honored today to actually talk with Thana. We visited a while back, and I think we immediately connected. Yes. And yes, we did. An hour, what I thought was going to be an hour lunch ended up, was it?
Almost 3.
3 hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like we're soulmates, and
yeah.
It was just a wonderful, wonderful discussion, just a heart to heart. And
yes.
I just know that she brings that to the community and brings it to everybody that she runs into, and I just thank you for doing it for me as well, because it was beautiful. So, all right, are you ready for some questions?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Let's go.
All right. So the first thing is, as far as your personal professional journey that led you to doing Viola's House, which was amazing story that you were telling me. You had this big idea, and it takes like grit and decision making. And how did you get started? Where did you get the idea? How did you do it?
So I started with writing a mentoring curriculum for teen mothers. I was a teen mom, and I was never homeless. And I never lacked resources because I had a village. And that is the key, And I knew that that was a great part of my success story, was my village. So I was able to finish my degree. By 22, I actually had 3 children, and I was married. I was also a teen bride. So I had this grand village in Chicago, and so I was able to finish my education. I started an insurance career at 21 years old, and by 24, I was into catastrophe claims and catastrophe management of claims. So I've always served. My father was a pastor. I grew up around just watching my family serve the community. And so as I got older on my journey, I knew that I needed to give back to this demographic because I was them at one point. Once I started writing the mentoring curriculum, and it was very easy to get in front of teen moms and administer the curriculum, but I learned very quickly that these moms were more focused on basic survival. You know, you could talk to them about careers and things like that, but at the forefront of their minds, they needed to know, where can I live with my baby? How do I get diapers? How do I get wipes? Just basic survival. So I saw the need immediately for a residential program. And I started on this journey, and it was quite a journey. I kept getting told no. I kept getting turned down for properties that I wanted. At one point, I was a couple days away from signing a lease on a property in Junius Heights, and a TV station came out to interview me in that property. And the HOA saw it and researched to find out what was coming into the neighborhood, and the president of the HOA literally stopped the homeowner from letting me sign the lease. So it was quite a journey. But I knew the vision that I was shown. I had gotten it out of my head onto paper, into a PowerPoint, and I knew that somehow, some way, there would be provision for this vision to come forth for me to house teen mothers who were homeless and pregnant.
Mm-hmm. So what was the big break, like the first one? How were you able to
The big break was collaboration. And that collaboration came with Cornerstone Baptist Church. I was actually handling some insurance business. I actually handled all of the insurance portfolio for Cornerstone Baptist Church. And the pastor there had purchased 3 houses behind the church because they needed the parking lot. They needed parking space. So the plan was for him to tear the houses down and create the parking space that he needed. And he heard about Viola's house and asked to meet with me, and I was ready. I used to carry around this little PowerPoint. I had copies in my car. I was always ready to do a presentation to show people why there was such a need in Dallas specifically, and specifically why there was an even greater need in South Dallas. So I met with him, and 10 minutes into the conversation, he said, "Hey, let's go look at this middle house. I don't have to tear them down. I think this would be good for Viola's house."
Wow.
And so that was my big break. But I walked into this house, Virginia, and it was horrible. It was 5 efficiency apartments, clothing in the walls for insulation. And I wanted to be really grateful, but I was looking at this house like, okay, God, you gave me this vision, but this is not what I expected it to look like. You know, you think that you're gonna open a maternity home for homeless moms, and it's just gonna be this grand, beautiful, and really, it is that now. I just had to turn it into that. So in addition to the home that he donated to Viola's house, he said, "Hey, you've gotta get started. So he gave me one apartment around the corner in the church's care center. And me and a group of volunteers and a couple of my girlfriends, we fixed up that one apartment. We did a soft press release for 2 beds, and literally within a week I had 10 applicants, right? And so that's how we started, and we have never stopped moving since then.
And how many do you have today, like daily?
So that house that I told you about has been transformed to the beautiful home that I imagined in my mind. There are 5 girls there, and we can hold 5 girls and 5 babies in that maternity home. We shut the apartments down after 3 years to focus solely on quality services versus quantity of mothers. The apartments with so many mothers, so many babies, that we weren't able really to focus on the quality services that I wanted to provide. So in the maternity home now, there's 5 girls, and our staff ratio for the maternity home is 1-to-1. But we've grown so much that we also serve the mothers in the community who are not homeless, but at risk for homelessness and in need of services. So we just opened the first of its kind baby benefit boutique in South Dallas, and it is voucher-based shopping with dignity. So it's a beautiful upscale thrift store. In that boutique, we provide parenting and pregnancy classes. In the first month that we opened the boutique, we administered over 2,600 pregnancy and parenting classes to over 1,400 mothers in the community. So we are in the South Dallas community in a major way, providing the education to the mothers and the resources that they need so that they can have dignity with caring for their children.
And it was key what you said, if I'm in survival mode, I am not thinking about getting a new job or getting education.
Exactly. And we try to take away the basic needs that a mother would have for her child. So even outside of a voucher, every mom receives diapers and wipes every time she comes into the boutique, because that is basic survival that they need. In the South Dallas community, 1 in 4 mothers have to choose between diapers and food for their homes. So we want to take that choice away. But at the same time, if they're choosing between diapers and food, they really don't have the option for clothing. And we would have porch giveaways during COVID. And, you know, babies are walking up with no shoes on, or, you know, so many babies would come for diapers and just have a diaper on and not even clothing. So we started giving out clothing with 2 outfits in a Ziploc bag. And literally, it grew so big that it created the need for the boutique.
Wow.
Excuse me.
So just amazing work. And when you think about all of that, I wanted to move to a question that I think is really key here, because you grew so fast and there was this need, but now all of a sudden you've got this influx of people. So you're building this.
Yes.
And it's like, build it and they will come, and they came in droves.
Exactly.
So tell us how you've already said about how you're building right now, but you have to have some really great needs as well.
Absolutely.
So what would that look like for you all? Because this is getting bigger than you anticipated, I'm sure.
It definitely is. And you quickly find out your needs when you grow quickly. So it went from just me being the only person who was technically a volunteer, because Virginia, I've had a catastrophe insurance career for 20 years. So while I was building Viola's house, I was still managing a catastrophe team, and some of my adjusters were all over the country. So at any given time, you could come into Viola's house, and I would have 3 screens in front of me and a phone on each side of me as I managed Viola's house and managed the hurricanes that hit the United States. So I went from me running the place and being the founder to now we have 20 full-time employees, 5 part-time, and then we manage a database of over 150 volunteers right now.
Wow.
So we have grown, and with that growth, the mothers come to us daily. We have over 200 moms a day in class so that they can receive baby bucks. And so when they receive those baby bucks, we need to be able to give them what they need. So we give out over 80,000 diapers a month.
Oh my goodness.
So I often tell people that the diapers in their time is the most valuable thing to us right now. We need people who are willing to volunteer, and we always need diapers. You could bring us 1 case of diapers, and with 1 full case of diapers, I can serve 4 families with enough diapers for the week. That is powerful. 1 case serves 4. And so I often tell people it's just as simple as when you are in Walmart, just grab a case of diapers and think of Viola's house, and it makes such a difference for us.
Absolutely. So is that the greatest need right now?
Absolutely. I would say diapers and volunteers right now
Yeah.
is one of my greatest needs. Of course, we always have financial needs, and we love our wonderful donors who have donated to get us to this point. But as far as physically, we would love to have people donate their time. Time is very, very valuable to us at Viola's house. And if you don't want to sort clothes in the baby boutique, you can go around the corner to the maternity home, and on any given day, there's 3 to 5 babies there, and you can just rock a baby and give a mom a break so that she can go out back and read her book or do her homework. We always need baby cuddlers at the maternity home.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And I want to point something out to the audience, and since we have people online, key is COVID as well, which so many of the places that had supplies and diapers and like those kinds of things were overrun as well. So I found that even if you go to some of these places where you thought they had supplies, they're low on supplies too. So even if you think that you've donated, know that there's still a huge need, because now we're behind the ball on
Yes.
these kinds of things.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. You mentioned that integrity and grace are your top values when building community. Share with the group what you do to keep these values top of mind as you execute
So
every day.
one of the top things that I do is I operate in integrity, and I walk in grace daily as I serve. I am a true servant leader, and what I try to do is really pour those values down to the leaders in Viola's house, to the board, and most importantly to the staff. Because if I show them what that looks like, then they have no choice than for it to trickle down to the clients that we serve. So it's very important in leadership that we don't just say things, but that we show it through our actions. And it's just as simple as someone on the staff making a mistake and showing them the grace and love that we would have liked to received during our times where we made mistakes, right?
Yeah.
And most recently, I had someone who was doing data entry for all of our mothers, and she was really messing up the data entry to the point where I was really having to answer for what was being submitted to the state with some of her data entry. And so I called her in to talk to her, and she was just crying because she just felt like I called her in there because she was going to lose her job. And I kind of chuckled when she said that. I said, absolutely not. I said, we are going to find a way to make this work for you, to find out where you're having the issue, because we are ministry first. So it's not just for the clients that we serve, but if we teach people and show people grace who are serving the clients, then that same grace gets handed down to our clients. And so we kind of figured out her error of where she was making the data entry error, and she was around at the boutique, and it was just a very fast-paced environment over there. She needed a quieter space. And so I afforded her that grace, because there were so many times in my career where I wasn't afforded that grace. But then there was a couple times where I was, and it made all the difference with helping me grow. It made all the difference with teaching me leadership. So I am really big on being a servant leader and showing the staff what walking in integrity and grace looks like. Integrity in serving is huge, right? Because oftentimes people think that they are just a number to an organization. And we are really big. Every mother that takes a class, they receive a follow-up call from our phone counselors. Because we want them to know that we are an organization that cares, that no matter how many mothers we serve, we want to show them our integrity, that they are just not a number to us, but that we're there because of our hearts. So that's really big, and I pride myself on being a servant leader and doing that every day.
And I would like to actually confirm that, because I had invited Thana to a luncheon, and the next thing I know, she's texting me that she had to go and roll up her sleeves and take care of some things. And you know what? That's what leaders do, like when the chips are down, right? And things need to, so you just...
Yeah, you do.
That was it. And I totally understood that.
Yeah.
So that was just, like I say, a beautiful quality, I think.
Thank you.
So you talked about belonging. What are some things that you implemented within your structures to foster that sense of belonging among the
So the
people
first
that you
thing
serve?
that's important in our maternity home is that a mother walks in that door and feels like she's at home. Because when you're at home, you know you belong there. And so I'm really, really big on that. If you walk into the doors of Viola's house, you don't feel like you're at a shelter. It feels like your grandmother's home, maybe a little upgraded from your grandmother's home, right? But it's really important that the girls who come there to live, because even though they're there temporarily, that is their home. And we have so many girls that leave there and they come back all the time, getting on our nerves, raiding the refrigerator, coming into my office looking for snacks. But it's because the minute they walked in the door, we made them feel welcome, and we made them feel like they belong there. We made them feel like we had been waiting for them. And that's really important. Their beds are prepared. There's a welcome basket on their bed. We cater to their every needs. Sometimes too much, but it's the only time in their life that they'll receive 24/7 care around the clock with their pregnancy and their baby. I am big on making sure those mothers that walk into those doors really feel like they belong there and have a sense of home.
I love that. I love that. So in doing that, it sounds like you're also creating an environment where they will pass that on and pay it forward.
Yes.
Do you have any stories?
Oh, I have so many of what has come from Viola's house. And I always tell the staff this is their point of reference for what a home should be like. And so oftentimes girls will come back and they show me their living rooms, they show me their bathrooms, and they're so proud to show us that they've set up their home, that they keep it tidy, that their babies are sleeping in a separate bed, because we really encourage that. And so I have so many stories, and I don't necessarily call them success stories because success is gauged different from every mother, but just beautiful stories of how we planted seeds while these girls were there, and the harvest that we're able to see once they leave there.
Yeah.
Those are the beautiful moments.
Yes. I love that. Okay, so how about, let me get to my next question here. How about the community? Now, you have built up people, you have worked with community partners, but here's a question about that community supporting you and how you build yourself up to continue doing this, because you explained your schedule to me. And I think we have in common, like,
We do.
Not a great track record with assistants.
Yeah. We can't keep a personal assistant.
So how do you make sure that you can bring your best? Because you can sometimes get a feeling of exhaustion, or that you're just, your bucket isn't full.
Oh, it happens all the
Yeah.
time.
So how do you
And
manage
you know, I'm
that?
constantly telling myself, you can't pour from an empty cup, Thana. And that is my reminder to myself to fill my cup in some capacity. So one of the simple things that I just did a couple weeks ago is I blocked my Monday calendar. And on Mondays on my calendar, it just says no appointments, right? And believe it or not, that's self-care for me, which means I get to maybe sleep a little later, right? Sleep until about 7, and kind of get
That's
up.
sleeping late.
Yeah, it is. But something as simple as blocking a day so that I'm not on a set schedule that day. So I still get stuff done. I don't take any appointments, but I'm working at my pace that day and at my capacity for that day. So something as simple as blocking a day, because my weekends now are actually very full. Saturday is our busiest day at the boutique. Sundays we visit churches, because we have so many churches who have bands all over DFW who are collecting clothes for us. Events on weekends. So weekends actually don't feel like a weekend to me. So blocking that Monday is really important. That's a level of self-care. Recently, I've been doing something as simple as putting some of my favorite songs on my playlist and getting out and walking at the park across from my house. I go get my lashes filled once a week, faithfully, on Thursdays. At 10 o'clock on Thursdays. If you call in my phone and it's going to voicemail, it's because I'm getting a lash fill. So believe it or not, there are little things that I do, and I take those moments for myself. I have a book on my nightstand, which is called Pockets of Wisdom, and it's self-care for me. It's a book by the sheikh who built the city of Dubai. And there's so much wisdom that he offers in leadership. And so when I can take a moment at night, which I do often, about five nights a week, and I pick up that book and just read little inserts of wisdom from him and from that, I fill myself up. My prayer time is really a big time to fill myself up. So when I'm walking that track and listening to my songs, you know, I have these conversations with God. And it's not your average prayer. It's not like, dear Father God. So most of the time it's, God, listen, We talked about this last week. I told you how I needed to go. And for some reason, I feel like, you are moving too slow. Or you really need to speak into this person's ear because they're telling me no, and I know it should be a yes. So yeah, my conversations with God is definitely self-care because it's never a normal conversation. My conversations with God they definitely need to remain private.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is self-care for me. So I find those moments, I find those opportunities, and I have learned to take them unapologetically. I have learned to be okay, like I told you today, with simply taking my phone during a meeting and turning it down. And engaging in that moment and not flipping it up until that meeting is over, right? So that cuts down on anxiety because if you're already in a meeting and then so much is happening on your phone, it builds up anxiety. So I have learned to be okay with just saying, hey, this text message can wait, or their emergency, their poor planning doesn't constitute an emergency on my part. So just turning my phone down and not seeing all the notifications sometimes is self-care.
Yeah.
Really.
Allows you to be present in that moment. And I think that's really key. I had to learn that myself. Like there's something about that makes the conversation richer, and you don't even realize that it's rich for you too.
And we did that with our meeting together. That was one meeting where I was really engaged with meeting you, and I had my phone turned down. And I told you once I got to the car, it was like, but it was okay because I was so full from that meeting. So even moments like that where I'm getting the opportunity to just be present and engage, that's self-care.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I love hearing that because 5 years ago, I will tell you, you would have seen a different person, and I probably would have been the one like answering all those and being interrupted and all. So I think it's just something that you learn after a while. And,
Yeah.
We have to talk about those conversations with God.
Oh,
I'm telling you right now.
They are something.
So tell us what it means to be a recipient of the Maura Award, which is, by the way, I was telling her as we were talking over lunch, and she was sharing some things with me, and I'm looking at her, and she's talking, and I'm going, she is rocking it. Like, does she have any idea what she has accomplished? Because you were being so humble and like, I still have to do more, I'm going, oh my gosh. So, and this is a huge honor. How does that feel for you?
It means so much. When I walked in here today and I saw the banner with the pictures and saw my picture in there, I'll cry, baby. But it means so much because I think I was sharing with you at lunch, sometimes we feel overlooked and undervalued, especially in certain spaces. And our culture has been that we give so much until we deplete ourselves, right? And oftentimes, so many women will give and do so much in the community, and it's never recognized. So to receive this prestigious award tonight from Texas Women's Foundation, and the history with that is when it was Dallas Women's Foundation, it was the very first place that I applied to for a grant because I was opening the apartments, and I remember feeling so devastated by the no from Dallas Women's Foundation. And now to sit here years later, and I'm actually a recipient of this award, it means so much for us as women. It means so much for me as an African American leader, and it means so much for the community of South Dallas.
Absolutely. Can we give her a round of applause again for being just amazing work you're doing.
Thank you, Virginia.
And we're going to have some follow-up conversations on some things we
I
may
know
do
we
together.
will. We need to have wine.
I know we will. I'll go for that. Okay. We are at 0, so do we have questions?
We want to open the mic. Who's got questions? And I'm so sorry we turned you down.
It's okay. Look at me now. I'm
Look
here.
at you now.
Hello, I'm Mysteria Miller, and I'm just so excited about being here with you all and in this platform. The question I have is, who is Viola?
Viola was my godmother, who was part of my village. So the concept of Viola's house is the village. I absolutely had 2 wonderful parents, but Viola was part of the village. I grew up in church. Viola's mom was part of my mother's village. So ironically, it was generational that my mother had Viola's mother to help her, support her with her babies, and Viola supported me when I had my baby. She was my godmother. And I was a bit of a troubled teen, just a little bit. So my parents really leaned on her to help with my behavior, my attitude, just everything that was happening through my teen years. And she kept me on that straight and narrow.
Beautiful. Thank you.
It's a great
Thank you.
question.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Farrell Fellows. I don't have a question, I have a comment. I want to acknowledge and honor you, Thana, for helping me as a woman. I'm here
Oh.
today. We started a transitional home for women in South Dallas. We didn't know what we were doing. Thana did. And she opened up herself, her resources, her experience, her advice. She counseled us. You know, a lot of women don't necessarily give of their experience. They work hard to obtain, but she did so freely. I hope I'm not embarrassing you, but I
That's
just
okay.
want to say thank you
Oh,
because
thank
you
you.
deserve this award. You
Thank
truly,
you.
truly do.
Thank
And you are an example of what we all should be as women. So
Thank
I just
you.
honor you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Farrell.
Oh, I love that question. And I think that that's key. You know, as I was coming through my career, that wasn't always the case. And the one thing that I've learned in being part of the Texas Women's Foundation, formerly Dallas Foundation, was these women, it was so fascinating to me to watch a room full of women and how they integrated themselves into the community and were supporting and educating, and you know, it was all in. And that is, I would say, was rare. I think it's getting better, and I'm really pleased to see that in the community. Yeah. Any other questions? No? Okay, so we have some more. So you talked about self-care. You want to talk about your family a little bit?
Sure. So, well, my family is here. So my mother is over there. My oldest daughter, that's the daughter that I had as a teen.
Okay, we need you to stand.
She is the community outreach manager now at Viola's house. And then that's my middle daughter, Samaje. And she tries to be a personal assistant on Mondays, but I think she's over it. And then my youngest daughter is in New York at school. She lives in Manhattan. And then through my work at Viola's house, I have custody of the cutest little 3-year-old boy who is spoiled to death. His name is Marquise. He couldn't be here because he would have tore this place up. But his mother lived at Viola's house when she was pregnant with him. And she has just continued to make some wrong choices in life. And so through a series of events, we have had him for over 2 years. And me and my daughters collectively help raise him and co-parent him. And that's my little immediate family that I have here in Dallas. And then all of my girlfriends are my family because all of my family is in Chicago. So my girlfriends are like my family. I call them all sister friends. So yeah, that's my family.
What's Mom's name? I didn't catch Mom's.
Her name is Brenda.
Brenda.
Brenda Hickman, yes.
Brenda, you need to stand up. You raised a fine daughter. Let's give Brenda a round of applause. Thank you for being here. Wow, that's
Yes.
fantastic. Nice to meet you.
Yes.
So what other questions? I didn't want to take the floor. I'm sure we have another question here, no?
So, Thana, what's next? What's next for you?
Okay.
What's next?
That's a good question, because you know I have a next. So right now, through my partnership with Cornerstone Baptist Church, we are doing a land acquisition thanks to Reese Jones Foundation. So part of that land acquisition is a 12-unit apartment building for Viola's house. I don't know if you all are aware, but Texas is #1 in repeat pregnancies, which means that 70% of the applicants who applied to Viola's house are on their second or third pregnancy, and we cannot take them. So if we have a waiting list for eligible clients, imagine the ineligible clients that we cannot take in the maternity home. So the 12 units that we will be opening next year will help with that barrier of housing in South Dallas. We just opened the boutique March 5th, and we're out of space. And I'm grateful for that. It's one of the best problems you can ask for. So we are looking at a 3-year project to build, basically double the size of the boutique. Myself and Pastor Chris have met with the architect already to start the plans. We have the land already. And so we intend to grow and expand. One of the major things that's needed in South Dallas is affordable housing. And being able to offer affordable housing to mothers with children helps break the generational cycle of homelessness that we see. And so that's a major project. So with the apartment building, and then there will be additional apartments above the new boutique space in 3 years. I'm trying to work with Farrell over here to get some more housing. She buys up all the housing in South Dallas, so we're trying to see what we can get with her. But yes, expansion is definitely happening right now because there is just such a great need. So, yes.
And I would imagine it will expand with the demographics expected in Dallas.
Absolutely.
over the
And then we're
next
also
several years.
looking at some different states to expand some programming in as well.
Very good, very good. Any other questions at all? We're getting close to time? Are we good on time?
We've got 9 seconds.
Oh, a whole 9 seconds. Is there anything that you want to say to the women in the audience or online as some words of
Absolutely.
wisdom from you that you've learned?
Absolutely.
Or
When
a tip?
when you have a vision, no matter what the journey, no matter how difficult it seems, keep growing, keep going, keep growing and going. Because if you do that, no matter what, you will see that vision come to pass. And it will likely be greater than you ever imagined that it could be. So don't stop. We're women, we're capable of everything, so we can do it.
Absolutely. Give her a round of applause, Thana. Thank you.
Thank you, Virginia.
What a great conversation. Thana, you belong to 43 years of the women who have been presented with this award. You are so worthy. Congratulations.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Virginia, thank you on behalf of Texas Health Resources. I know how committed you are to this work and to women's leadership. And thank you all for coming. The reception starts at 6, which I hope you will go enjoy, but check out the inspiration wall before you go. We'd love to hear your thoughts about what you've heard and learned today. So thank you for being with us, and enjoy the rest of your evening.